What's up, party people? It's KeysDAN with RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com, coming to you live and in living color from the Radio What studios. And this is my podcast. What Makes You Famous is an extension of the RadioWhat.com internet radio station that I've been running for quite some time. And if you need DJ services, where do I always send you? DJLittleRock.com. One more time, DJLittleRock.com. Check availability and get a free price quote, and maybe you can have me at your next event. I like to party with the people. The people need to be entertained. Let me entertain you. Are you not entertained? Make your next thing a big one. Today on the program, Tim DeMattio Budda. Who's that? Well, you're going to find out in the next few minutes, so stick around. This week's shows, well, due to this coronavirus thing, I have no public shows this week, so expect a lot of podcasting. And lately I've been doing a lot of video game streaming, so you could find that using the hashtag KeysDAN Gaming. I'm on Twitch, and I'm on Facebook Gaming. Hashtag KeysDAN Gaming. All right, let's get into it with Tim DeMattio. I've got him on Skype, so if you're listening to the audio version only of this, I encourage you to check out the video version on my YouTube, youtube.com/user/KeysDAN, or just look up KeysDAN on YouTube. You're going to find 3 different YouTube channels. It's the one with the Radio What logo sitting right next to my name. How about that? All right, let's get into it with Tim DeMattio. Skyping Tim DeMattio now.
That better?
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's beautiful, man. Hey, my cousin Timmy, Tim DeMattio, Budda, postrockalyptic. What is happening, my man?
Not much. Another day in paradise.
Well, tell me where paradise is. Tell the people a little bit about who you are. If you were writing your own Wikipedia page, I don't even know if you have a Wikipedia page, but if you were writing your own Wikipedia page, what would be the blurb at the top?
Oh, I'm sure something wordy and thought out, but on the spur of the moment, I'm just a multimedia artist, and I'm from South Florida. I still live there to this day. I've lived a couple other places, but I came back here, and I haven't left yet.
Okay, but you were born in, where, Miami or Fort Lauderdale? Where were you born?
Jackson Memorial Hospital, Miami.
Miami, Florida. And what year would that be?
1980, right during the Mariel boat lift.
Dude, I've grown up with you my whole life. Your whole life, I guess. I remember when you were born. I remember, that you were the apple of everyone's eye. When you came out, everybody was like, "Oh man, we got a baby boy in the family. This is beautiful." 1980. You said Mariel boat lift. I remember Poppy, my grandfather.
Yeah, there was the hospitals.
What's that?
The hospitals were all filled with.
You can cut it out a little bit. The hospitals were all filled
Hello?
with. Yeah.
My phone fell. The hospitals were full of boat lift people.
Boat
when
lift
I was
people.
going to the hospital to be born.
Yeah, I guess Mariolitos. I mean, what do you remember? What was your first memory? I went to high school in the 80s. I guess in 1980, I probably was still living in Miami, in Carroll City, and I was going to Catholic school at St. Monica in maybe 5th or 6th grade, somewhere around there, 1980, if I can remember properly. But what was your first memory, that if you could divulge?
I have a memory of being in the hospital and a bunch of people sitting around watching me, but I'm not sure if that's actual memory or if that's something from a dream or something.
What's funny is people can tell you things and it will alter your perception, your consciousness. People can tell you a story a certain way, and even if you don't remember it that way, it might start to steer in that direction. My first memory that I can remember is when Kenny, my brother, when he came out of the hospital, Myra, my mother, was holding him in her arms. She was in a wheelchair, and I remember Larry, his dad, was at, man, I want to say the green Chevy Nova, or I've remembered it both ways, either the green Chevy Nova or the powder blue, was it Malibu? It was either one of those, and I remember him and them, and it was kind of a whirlwind, and that was my first memory. But you have this feeling that you remember the day you were born?
Not the day I was born, but after I was born, I was premature a couple of months. So I was like in like machines and all kind of like equipment. So I took it. It was a while before they were able to take me home from the hospispittal.
Oh my. Okay. All right. Well, tell me about that.
I started at a few pounds. Now I'm above 300.
Aren't we both? a few too many lbs, but tell me about that early life, man. I mean, I have a feeling I know a little bit about it, but there's so many times I do these podcasts, I learn more than I ever thought I knew about certain people. So tell me about your early life, Tim DeMattio. Should I call you Buddha Holly or postrockalyptic? What are you going by these days?
We haven't got to that part of the story yet. I was still Timmy at this point.
Timmy! I had to do one.
Exactly. Living a lie. All right. So yeah, I was like a smart kid, like I started I knew my alphabet at like 1.5, and I was reading by like 2,
Yeah, and I think do I remember? Were you the one that was doing the presidents or knowing? You were knowing.
It's possible. I knew a lot of stuff, but like it was. What happened was like they would take me like when I go to like my family like up in Ohio and stuff. They would just laugh like give them the newspaper, make them read that, and just watch me read.
Man, okay, so I mean, silly human tricks, and that wasn't such a bad trick to know how to read at an early age. I think the first book I read was The Wizard of Oz, and that was well before I was 5 years old. So I read like a 300-page book. So I feel like I peaked really, really early.
Yeah, I started going to a private Catholic Chrismar in Hialeah.
What was the name of the school?
Chrismar.
Was that one that was full of nuns, or was it like
it's just a private school, and it was like I was there, and I would always have problems because I would be so smart and going against the grain. Like I remember one time they had me to color in shapes, and I was supposed to color it in blue, and I colored in cadet blue, and we got in an argument over the fact that it was blue or not,
And they're always trying to beat that creativeness out of you. I think that it's blue. Flowers are red. Stems are green. And I think there was a Harry Chapin song that went just about like that. Flowers are red. Are you familiar with that song?
I've never heard. I know Harry Chapin, but I don't think I've heard that song.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he had Catch in the Cradle. That was his big hit. But then I remember he had another song called Flowers Are Red, and it was all about a teacher. It was about. Oh, yeah. Oh, for sure. But
WLD.
Oh, for sure. But he had a song that it was about a teacher that was beating the creativity out of a student in just that way. But when you were growing up, you felt like you were challenging. Your school life wasn't as challenging as it should be.
It was always me against the teachers because I knew I was smarter than everyone I've ever met. So it just comes to a head at some point when people's egos are challenged. So what happened was I was the. I was like it got so I was like the Catholic school told my parents basically there's nothing we can do for him here. You got to take him to public school.
So what was the private school? Was it private? You said it was Catholic school or private school?
Catholic private school, yes.
Okay, but it was still pretty secular. There weren't too many nuns hanging around.
I don't know. I didn't see any like habits, but we had to wear like blue cardigans and like the girls wore skirts and plaid skirts.
Yeah, I remember those days. Like I said, St. Monica, I did that from, I guess, 2nd grade to 6th grade because 1st grade, kindergarten, 1st grade, I was at Lake Stevens Elementary. But how long did the private school last? Did you go to 5th, 6th?
Kindergarten or pre-K and kindergarten. And I think for 1st grade, I started going to Broadmoor Elementary in Miami-Dade County. It was just Dade County then, but yeah.
Oh, that's right.
What? Go ahead.
No, that's right. It was Dade County then, but Broadmoor Elementary, whereabouts was that?
That's when I lived over on 92nd Street and 29th Court
That's
in Northwest Dade.
Northwest Dade. Okay. Yeah, people are, you're going to get a little geography lesson. People that are listeners, you'll get on the walking tour. I've always put locations on the What Makes You Famous walking tour. And
well, if you want to know, that's the corner that your grandmother had her house and her mother had her house, and that was all those houses were all together right on that street corner.
Okay, I do remember growing up. I had, mommy, my grandmother, was on one side of the street, and then Beba, your grandmother, was on the other side of the street, and then our great grandmother was right next door to that, on that side of the street. And I remember
the house I grew up in, the green one.
And that's where you grew up, man. Now I remember, was there 2 stories on that, or was there an add-on? What's that?
No, it was just one. But the other house on the corner had a stairs that you can climb up on the roof.
That was it. I remember the stairs, and I think I remember going up on the roof one time, and I got in big trouble for that, and because I was way too young.
We had avocado trees and the best tangerines.
Oh yeah, and then you had Armando. Was he in the back? There was a Tata, and then his son. Was it Armando?
I don't know. That's too far. I know Tata. I saw him as recently as 2009.
Wow, I remember Tata. He was, man, what a cool dude. And okay, and that's where I guess growing up, I didn't know racism until I guess I was in 6th, 7th grade, and I got turned on to it a little bit. But at that point, Tata, to describe him, this man, his skin color, black as night, man, dark as midnight. And I just thought of him as a dude, just another guy. And back then, all right, we're both Cuban. Are you half Cuban or full Cuban?
Half Cuban, let's see, 8th Irish, 8th Hungarian, quarter Italian.
Wow. Okay, that's a that's a good mix, man. But we're both half Cuban, and we always thought of any other Cuban, no matter what the color of his skin or her skin is, you're Cuban. You're not black. You're Cuban, and we'd say, "Oye, negro," and hey, what's up, negro? That was hey, what's up, black? And that was always a thing growing up, and it didn't mean anything derogatory. That's something that has changed over the years. I mean, what is your feeling?
There's lots we can't say anymore.
Say again?
There's lots of stuff we can't say in public anymore.
I guess, but I still say it, and I probably get in trouble for it, and I'll probably get a few comments for saying negro, because that's just how he was described.
Negro.
Yeah. I mean, I make sure I have to pronounce that properly, put the enunciation on the right syllable. But yeah, growing up, man, Hialeah, that was a great place, and I remember that across the street from there, on the other side, there were pink houses, and that was kind of a poorer part of the neighborhood. But I guess we were all kind of poor at that time.
It wasn't the best neighborhood, and that time of history in Miami was a very crime-ridden. It was like we were probably the murder capital of the world at that point, the United States anyway.
Oh my! Well, tell me more about your experiences growing up on that street. It was nice to have a lot of family on that corner, on that block.
Oh yeah, me and my sister and my 2 female cousins, we all grew up in the yard there, just hanging out,
Well, I mean, tell me a little bit about more about that. What was the playtime like? What were the extracurricular times, and how the school life was as it progressed?
Well, I lived there until 1988. Like, we moved out after our house got broken into.
Ooh, okay. And by that time, well, I guess, was my grandmother still living there at the time? I think
I do. Oh,
what's that?
I said I do believe so.
Yeah, I think. At that point,
my grandmother passed away in 86.
86. Okay.
In your grandmother's house.
Okay. I mean, and yeah, I remember when Beba died, and that was a time, man. Just it was sad because she was the historian of the family. And then I know that my grandmother had to take over the duties, but I remember she was pretty much the glue that held the place together. She kept a lot of the facts
Right.
about life. Do you have any of those pictures or those memorandums?
Some stuff, but like it was like my mother held the same role in the next generation. You know.
Right, Adela. Oh my goodness. And it's hard for me to say Adela because I remember the story was told to me when I was younger that I would call her Elizabeth, which is her sister's name, and she said, "No, I'm Adela. I'm Adela." So my whole life I've called your mother, who has long since passed away. I called her Amadella, and she went with it, especially when Star Wars came out. She called herself Queen Amidala, and that was
Exactly.
the later ones. But yeah, she went with it. But all right, so growing up, man,
I mean, I have millions of stories. This might be a 4-hour podcast. You
I
know.
hope so. I hope so. I want to learn a lot more about my cousin Timmy, and I want the people to
All right.
know as much
All right.
about you as you want to tell.
All right. Well, let's start with my parents. You know, I mean, my mother is born in Miami from Cuban immigrants. Her parents were Cuban immigrants. Came over in 1949, and so she was born here in '56 in Miami, and my father was born in Ohio, and in 1958, and he came down here in like '79.
Okay.
He came down, I think he came down for like spring break in '79 and said, "I'm never going back up north again because he doesn't like the cold weather." You know.
I suspect that that's probably true for a lot of people. Now, your dad's name?
My dad's Terry DeMattio.
Terry DeMattio. That's right. And then, so tell me more about your dad. Tell me about him growing up.
Growing up with me, I mean, or growing up with him. That's his own podcast.
Oh no, growing up with you. How did your dad treat
Crazy.
you? What's
Like
that?
he loved me because I was like his smart kid. Like I remember he used to he was like he got a kick of like asking me how many letters on the alphabet, and I immediately started going A1, B2, C3, D4, D5, and I got all the way to Z26. You know, I was like 26, sir. You know,
And that was when you were 17 years old.
yeah, that was last night. You know,
No, but it give a timeline on when you
but
say
when I was going to school, like 5, maybe 4 or 5. You know.
it's good, man. And I remember the education system at the time. It seemed like it was accelerated. They didn't
That's
leave
what
a lot of people behind.
That's why I had to go to public school because then they could test me and put me into the gifted program.
Okay, so tell me
But
about that.
I went to public school. I went to Broadmoor Elementary, and they gave me the IQ test for the gifted thing, and I scored a 155 on the IQ test.
Is
I
that
think
good?
pretty good. It's like 1 in 8,000 people is smarter than me. Apparently, I don't know, something like that. But yeah, it's they gave me like I think I missed a couple questions they had, like something about like what does a waterfall and a mountain have in common or something weird, and then like something about who invented the electric light bulb, and I said Benjamin Franklin or something. I don't know, but I didn't miss much, and they were impressed with my scores. So ever since starting then, I started going to like part-time busing to the gifted programs.
It's so funny that you remember the questions that you missed and not the ones that you actually got. You're going to
Well,
dwell on those.
my mother was working at the school at that time. I'm not sure, but like, so maybe that's why I had an into what was going on with the results. I don't know.
I mean, so all right, and I know your dad, and I know your mom, and I know them, but I don't know them through your eyes, and I want you to
Exactly.
relate, how you interacted with your mother Adela and your father Terry. How did they treat you? How was it growing up with them?
They were good parents. I mean, they stayed married for 27 years, and they uh they wanted to uh they wanted to make up for the mistakes their parents made. Like both of them parents had divorces and split ups and stuff like that. You know, and my
Wow.
parents stayed together as long as my mother was alive. You know.
It had to be just a short time before you were born. I do remember when they got married. It was on the top of Crandon Park, if I'm not mistaken.
Reynolds
Park, and it was February 29th. They got married on leap year.
Right.
Yeah, that was such a hoot.
You do the math. I was born in July, and they were married in February. So I was a couple months premature. So I'm probably an office Christmas party gone wrong, you know.
Or gone right, man. I'm glad you're here.
Thank you.
Absolutely, man. The world is a better place now that Tim DeMattio is here. So, all right. So more. Tell me more. Growing through the years.
Well, I mean, like I said, we lived there till 88. Then we moved up to way northwest Dade, like the corner of Broward County, like 206 Terrace and 56. It's we moved almost as far out of Dade as you could get.
That was close to Miramar, maybe, or Hollywood.
It's right across the dump line, right across the canal there.
Okay, I do remember that area. And so, was it closer to the beach? Did you spend a lot of time near the water, or what did you spend your time doing?
Well, I mean, it depends when. I mean, I've always been reading, but playing outside back when I was really young, and then when I got older, playing Nintendo and things like that. But I mean, going to school, and I was always a creative kid, drawing and making up stories and stuff like that.
Well, I remember you were into the audio and the visual, and when the Dark Side of the Moon and the Pink Floyd, I remember that you and maybe your dad got together and actually put that record together with the Wizard of Oz and made a videotape yourself, and you got into the audio video a little bit. I do remember that growing up.
That was a bit like 96, maybe 95, 97, somewhere in there. And we had to get the tape, and then we had to get a certain device to defeat the encryption on the VHS so we could actually copy it,
But okay, well, I think the statute of limitations is done on that, so I think we're okay. But yeah, I remember that was something that was a hoot in the family. We all thought of you as
at the Noche Buena,
Well, we all thought of you as the guy that could do audio video stuff. You were making little movies, way back before the internet was around. Do you have any of those little movies or any of that audio video?
Any stuff like that, because I was always into animation. Originally, before, when I was real little, I wanted to be an astronaut, but then later on, I wanted to be an animator. And then eventually after that, a computer animator.
Well, how far did that go? Do you still do any of that?
Well, I went to high school at American High School over there. They say it's Hialeah, but it's not technically Hialeah. But that's on 67th and Miami Gardens Drive. There was I went in '94. I went to my freshman year of high school, and that was the first year they had a computer art program. So I got in on that. I had to rearrange a lot of my schedule to be able to do that. But in the beginning of the year, we didn't even have computers yet. So they were on order, and we were learning other stuff, like conceptual stuff, to get us ready for when we got the computers. So, and I started. That was in Photoshop. I don't know what Photoshop is on now, but we were on Photoshop 2.51s, and that was before layers. So if you pasted something and you let it go, it was there. You were done.
Wow. So you were photoshopping before Photoshop was cool. This is
pretty much.
This is 94. Wow.
Yeah. I do have a lot of those pictures left. I could show you or send them to you if you want.
Now that is solid. See, that's something I didn't know, that you were actually into the computer stuff before computers were really even powerful enough to do things. Who is there was the director that pushes the computers to the max. I can't remember. Whenever the effects department has to work with this particular director in movies, they always go, "Oh man, he's going to crash our computer." I can't remember.
Yeah,
but
like George Lucas and ILM did a lot,
Oh my goodness, they invented stuff. James Cameron has to wait for things to be invented.
A lot of those guys came out of advertising, like the Pillsbury Doughboy and stuff. That's where they came out of, the training,
Well, wow, okay. Little tidbits of information popping out.
That's the one thing I am, is a font of useless trivial information, or useful trivial information, as it may be.
Oh, I like that a lot, man. I enjoy a lot of trivia, and I like pop culture, man. So tell me about the stuff you growing up. You said you were playing some video games. What was the video game of choice?
Back then, I mean, well, early on, we got a Nintendo Entertainment System in I think Christmas of '89 with the power pad and the gun set. So we had that set, and yeah.
Wow, you went all the way. You got Duck Hunt, I'm guessing.
Duck Hunt, yeah, and then it came with the world-class track meet that you could run on the power pad, or you could just do it with your hands if you didn't want to run. Get on the pole and hit it with your fists.
Okay, all right. I think I have a Dance Revolution that, yeah, you can definitely just punch it with your fist if you don't want to dance, actually. Start using it like a bop it, like a Simon.
Yeah. Yeah, so then and then later on when Super Nintendo came out, I remember being really into Mortal Kombat 2. Mortal Kombat 1 came out and it was good, but Mortal Kombat 2 was just a much better game. I love that game still to this day. I could probably beat most anyone at Mortal Kombat 2 unless they're like a professional or something.
Man, okay, so I'm 20 years older than you, and I guess my game was the Atari 2600. So I really didn't grow up with Nintendo.
You're 10 years older than me, or 11. You're not 20 years older than me, dude.
All right.
You're 60.
You see, you're the mathematician around here. You're the smart one. Okay, so I'm 11 years older than you. Yeah, okay. I guess I was 11 years old when you were born. That's true. All right. Moving on. I edit nothing on these things, so you're going to hear every one of these blurbs. All of my mistakes will be recorded forever.
When are you making your podcast about your life?
Yeah, whenever somebody gets me on, I think I actually I'm getting on somebody else's podcast in January, so who knows what that's going to entail. But I mean, if you ever wanted to interview me, that'd be just fine. But anything you want to know, you can always ask. I inject a little bit of myself into these.
Let them know about the kitchen fire.
Oh yeah. Don't let me cook French fries in my own. Don't let me put French fries on the stove and then go downstairs and help you install a radio. No, that will be the wrong thing to do. Leaving French fries cooking while you go downstairs to install a radio, bad idea, because that will burn your whole condominium down. Yes. Why is the fire department here? Why is there smoke coming out of my room? I don't know.
Yeah, I remember that.
Oh,
that's when you live in Broward, right by my house at that point.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, you're right. I bought that condo in 87, 88, somewhere around there. But yes. All right. Moving on. Back to you. What's that?
What's that?
And then there was a lull in the conversation. No, moving.
I'm waiting for you to speak. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, moving on back to you. You're living on the on the Broward County line. What are you doing at this point? What year?
We moved up there in February of '88.
Okay, and you were, I guess, eight.
That house, we lived there until 2009.
Okay, yeah, I think I remember going there a few times, but
at least several.
Yeah, I remember going there a few times, but and I remember you had a lot of musical equipment, and I remember your sister, she had the drawing. What was your sister into?
She was into, I don't know, she wasn't into much creatively. She got into crocheting later in college, but back then, I was the creative one. I don't really know what she was into. She's a rare bird,
Got it. But I remember your room was like a fountain of creative stuff, man. You had VCRs, you had musical instruments. Go tell me what. Go ahead.
I got my first guitar in March 13th, 1996.
96. It feels like it was earlier than that. But who got you the guitar?
I got me the guitar. I had been saving money because I used to get whatever it was, $15 a week for lunch money for school, and I wouldn't eat the lunch. I would just save the money to buy CDs and stuff. And then for a while we were having money problems, so my mother was like, well, just hold off and I'll give you the money later, So eventually I had enough saved up that I wanted to get a guitar. I had seen the big impetus for me was watching Woodstock '94 on pay-per-view,
Uh-huh.
and like just seeing all the crowds of females lusting after these musicians and wanting to get in on that action, you know.
Okay, well, the two things I got out of that story, that's how that's why you were such a skinny little kid, is because you didn't eat your lunch, but you were saving up your money to get a guitar so you can get the girls. Hey, that's that's a pretty good reason to learn how to play guitar. It seems like a lot of dudes do that. Get into the entertainment business to impress girls. Hey, I guess a lot of heterosexual males, for the most part, do a lot of things that we do to impress the opposite sex. So how did it work out for you?
Well, I taught myself pretty much, basically self-taught I taught myself most everything I've done, like HTML and like Photoshop. I had a little bit of training in class, so that was like the actual formal training. But HTML and website design, I taught myself. But guitar, I had some software. Like there was a software that I read about, like it was called BS 365.exe or something, or it was Basement to Stage in 365 Days. And I was reading that before I even had a guitar to play on. I was just reading about it, and then like I was waiting to get the guitar, and I finally got it on March 13th, 1996. It was a Fender or a Squier Stratocaster, black.
I have that purple one that I think you played on stage one time. So okay, right. I'm very familiar with the Squier. Squier is the lower end of the Fender. It kind of looks the same, but it kind of knocks out of tune. What was your experience with that first?
It was a great guitar for however much it was, maybe like $150 or something. I don't remember how much it cost, but like it's pretty good guitar. I used it for years afterwards, and like when I got into recording, music around 2000, the year 2000. I got my digital multi-tracker. It was a Fostex FD4 4-track.
Well, I remember being impressed by you so much that every time you would learn how to play a song simply by listening to it. You had that skill that you could listen to a song and play it almost right away.
I don't know about that. Maybe I gave off that illusion, but I don't usually play by ear. I've gotten better at it since, but when I started, maybe I did. I don't know. Maybe I've forgotten that skill in my old age.
Okay, but you can read music then?
No, I read tablature where they just tell you, what fret, what number fret to play, what string, and what fret. Like, if I read a bar of music, like it might take me 10 minutes to figure out what it says. I can't sight read or anything.
Okay, so there's tabs. Is that how you learn how to play guitar?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, and like I had magazines. Like I subscribed to Guitar Magazine and Guitar World for a couple years, and I was reading all those articles.
Fascinating, man. And 96 was when you started that career off. You were a mere lad of 16 years old at the time, and it skyrocketed from there. No, but what songs were you learning at first?
Like Nirvana and Metallica and stuff like that. Is it possible that I could like grab a guitar and hold it here for you?
If you want to. Hey, I got time.
See if I can do that without knocking down my tripod. Hold on a second.
Okay. Yeah, he's got his phone sitting there, his high quality equipment, and now we're getting a little insight on Tim DeMattio. But I think he'd probably feel more comfortable with a guitar in his hands.
Hello?
Oh, you look way, way more comfortable with a guitar in your hands, like you were born to hold it.
Are you wearing a headset? I can't see you. So this would have been much better if I could have seen you. But what are you wearing, a headset?
Oh yeah, I'm wearing a headset. I'm talking into a microphone. I apologize about the Skype. It just you're gonna see it. If you're listening. Oh, my listeners, if you're listening to the audio version of this, I encourage you to check out the video version. It's on YouTube, youtube.com/user/KeysDAN, and you'll get to see all the times that Timmy drops the phone off of his quote unquote tripod. But now
that was a big drop. It's gonna take some construction to get back to where I was. But I don't know how much. Let me see what my battery's at. I'm at what percentage? I'm at 35%. I don't know how long that'll last, but we'll see what happens. I might have to plug into the charger here. Who knows?
What kind of phone are you using there?
It's a Moto E4.
Okay, good phone or what?
It's probably the cheapest viable option for Boost Mobile. You know.
Okay, I get it. All right. And how does Boost Mobile treat you?
It's pretty fine. I mean, a lot of places you can't get signal, but like I get unlimited data by only 2G, but I have 5 gigabytes of high-speed data, so that's why I had to do this phone call at the beginning of the month.
I gotcha. So are you living alone now, or are you?
Yeah, I'm living in a trailer in Davie at this point in time.
That's cool as can be, man. And so that's your own place?
It's I pay the lot rent, but I think my aunts own the trailer technically.
Okay, but I'm saying you live alone there.
Oh yeah, I'm alone. Yes, sadly.
Oh man. Okay, all right. So currently unattached and available.
Yeah, always accepting applications. In other words.
All right, we'll put that out there. Continuing on in the life of Tim
You didn't tell me
DeMattio.
I'd have to have a tripod for this. I thought this was going to be an audio situation.
No, that's all right, man. I'm getting a lot of shaky cam. It's starting to look like an episode of The Office.
Because like I've been wanting to buy a phone tripod, but I hadn't done it yet. And because I can put it down here, but then it's going to be the up the nose fat guy shot, you know.
That's as good as any other shot, man. Now I'm looking at the chest area.
Oh, did you see the shirt?
Yes. And now
I lost my.
now it's total blackness. Oh my!
What happened?
I don't know. It's black. There he is.
There it comes. We should have done a test call beforehand.
No, that's fine, man. I like all this, man. This is raw. This is life. But all right,
better?
yeah. So all right. So we got to 96 when you got your first guitar.
Well, we're jumping around. Whatever you want to know, ask me. You know, like I went to school. I was the smartest kid all the time. I started going to gifted programs like on the bus, like Tuesdays and Thursdays and stuff. And then starting in 3rd grade to 6th grade, I went to full-time gifted program at North Carroll City Elementary.
Yeah, but you were always a skinny kid. Was it because you didn't eat or did you exercise?
Like 89, maybe I was skinny, but like after that, I was always overweight. And then I was various levels of overweight till now where I'm just morbidly ridiculous.
See, I always thought of you because when you did the Buddha Holly phase of your career, and I know that I'm kind of foreshadowing and maybe giving spoilers, but in that phase of your career, you actually did look a little bit like Buddy Holly, you know, in that phase.
When I left Savannah, Georgia, I had been walking around downtown Savannah playing guitar for people. I left Savannah in August of 05. I was 155 pounds. That was the lightest I was.
Okay. All right.
And I came back here, and my mother started feeding me again, and then it all went down from there.
I understand. Cuban parents. Yes. My mother would hold me down while my grandmother would feed me. So, yes. Mommy and Mom, you're the reason that I'm way overweight. And I know you haven't fed me in a long time. So now my wife feeds me exactly how you do. No, she's trying to curb my eating habits. She's feeding me really good food and really high quality food too. So yeah, I think she learned from my grandparents and her parents for that matter.
Yeah. Did you see my shirt?
Yeah, I see. It says, "That's what I do. I play guitar and I know things." That is a perfect shirt for you, man. That's got to be the favorite shirt of your life.
Auntie Pat got it for me, yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic, man. So, all right. I mean, I know we're jumping around a little bit. I'm getting giddy because you're making me homesick. Just you living there in South Florida and me here in Central Arkansas. I'm happy to be here, but I do miss a lot of the things about South Florida. So tell me about what you were doing, in 96 when you were learning how to play guitar and you were the smartest kid in school. But,
I don't know what, but I was one of them. But I was always smart, but I would just get by. Like I wouldn't worry about stuff. It would just happen. Like I wasn't I think I finished 13th out of 459 students in my graduating class or whatever it was.
Yeah, not too shabby at all. Not too bad. So, all right. So going through the years, man, you got that Squire and you're learning some Nirvana, which about the timeline, it does match up. That's the stuff that was going on right then, the grunge and,
Right.
but you were learning on tabs. You don't read music at all, or do you? A little bit?
I can read it. Like if I can figure it out. If you gave me a music staff and I had to figure it out, I could figure it out. But I can't do it like live as I'm playing.
All right, so moving through, how did the rest of your high school career end up? You said you got to 13, and then after high school, you got this guitar. You've been playing for at least a couple of years. Where do you go from there?
Well, after I graduated high school and because we graduating high school, I took the SAT and the PSAT, all that stuff I was supposed to take, and like I did pretty well on those, and so I was my guidance counselor was like, "Are you gonna apply to colleges or something?" I was like, "I guess I should, right?" And then so I ended up because I ended up deciding to go away to college because I figured I wanted high speed internet in my dorm room. I think that would have been cool at the time.
But okay, so you graduated what, 98?
98, yeah, class of 98.
98, and then you went to what college?
University of Florida. Go Gators.
I do remember going up there and seeing you perform. So tell me about your college life, man. I never went off to a big college. I was a community college type of guy and vocational school.
It was cool. Like, I'll tell you what happened. When I got up there, it was I was in a triple dorm room with two other guys. And it was like the first week of that we were up there, and then the first weekend I think was Labor Day weekend, and everybody went home for the weekend except for me. I was there by myself, and that was like the first time in my life I had ever been on my own completely. Nobody cared who I was, where I was going. I felt completely free.
Well, that's pretty cool in a college town, hanging out at the University of Florida. What is that, Gainesville, right?
Right.
Okay, so tell me about your experience in Gainesville. You said you only had the electric guitar, or did you have an acoustic at the time?
I never had an acoustic at that point, and I got one later, like much later. But at that point, I only had the electric, and I didn't have it when I first went up there. My parents brought it to me a couple months later. But I got to Gainesville. I got into the fine arts program.
Okay, and how'd that go?
Pretty good. Like everybody who's a fine arts major, they had this program that was called WARP. It's a workshop for art research and practices. It's a really intense 9-credit-hour course that they get you get you into thinking like an artist and stuff like that. And there was a lot of interesting just people there, a lot of wide variety of creative folks getting together and for the first time in their adult lives.
Well, that's what college life is supposed to be, is to expand your minds, to get together with other like-minded people or even unlike-minded people and find out more about the world. So what were the highlights, the highlight reel of your freshman year at the University of Florida?
Well, I was in the honors program, and so what the honors program was there was like special classes. There were small classes with just a few people and like different subject matters, and you got to take one of those a semester. The first one I think we took was constitutional law because I had lowest priority in picking, so there weren't much choices by that time. But it was an interesting class.
Okay. Oh.
And then that was the one class I took besides the art. Everything else was that warp class.
All right. So, I mean, the college life, and you got your guitar a couple months later. It's kind of hard to busk using an electric guitar unless you have some kind of a battery pack.
Oh, yeah. I was years away from performing in public at that point.
Okay.
I was slow, steady rise. But, it was just like I said, it was three guys in a triple dorm room, and we would play, like, computer games on the network, like Duke Nukem and Shadow Warrior, Warcraft 2, and then there was one game we played called Acrophobia. It was by the makers of You Don't Know Jack. And it's like an acronym game. They would give you a string of letters, and you have to come up with an acronym phrase for those letters. And then everybody in the room votes for their favorite, and you get points based on that. And we got into that game. And we played in rooms that were adult language, and so it got kind of filthy at times. And at that point, I never swore out loud. You know, like I use swear words in my writing sometimes, like poetry and such. But like I wouldn't say it because my mother would slap me in the mouth if I said a curse word. You know.
I get it. Catholic family, growing up in a Catholic family, we had some kind of values, man. And I never cursed when I was younger until I got old enough to, when I was in the fire department. I think I cursed a little bit, but then I got on the radio and I stopped cursing. So I don't think I've cursed. I don't think I've cursed in 30 years, man. So.
Yeah, like that's what happened. That's when I started cursing out loud, was because of that game Acrophobia. Because me and my roommates would come up with phrases, and then I'd want to tell them what I wrote, but like I'd have to have them come over and look at my monitor, you know. And I got tired of that, so then I just started saying them out loud.
Okay, and this is like the early days of LAN computer networking, and right. was it mainly for playing games? Was that what it feels like, the early stages of the internet? You know, people connecting with other people.
I mean, it was basically the early in the .com boom era, and like that was like getting into like all the internet stuff, playing multiplayer games online and downloading MP3s. When those first came out, it was a huge thing.
Oh yeah, I think I gave up my techniques in '99. So and that's when I started doing computer stuff. So all right, we're going up through the years, man. You were in '98. You're spending your college years. How far did you get in college? Did you graduate with the fine arts at all? Or?
Bachelor of Fine Arts and Electronic Intermedia.
And what does that do for you?
Not much. This was like 2000, 2001. I was into like video editing, digital stuff like that. And it was pretty like niche kind of thing. And now everybody and their brother's got a camera and a studio in their pocket, you know?
Absolutely, man. But back then you were the man, especially if somebody had something creative that they needed videoing. Were you making movies in college at all, or doing anything like that?
I've got a DVD I made of my projects, you know? Like you can see this here.
Look at you. And what was the name of that project? I don't see the name. I see the clock.
Oh, this says Tim DeMattio, the undergraduate video collection, but it's got like 15 different videos I made throughout the last couple years, because I started out in graphic design, but I didn't get into that. I couldn't draw straight lines or something, so I got into electronic intermedia, because if you do it on a computer, no one knows how sloppy you are, you know?
Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, shoot, you're on cutting edge, man. You could have gone somewhere with that, but you went in a different direction. Where did you go from there? And tell me about your college life, because I remember going up there at least once, maybe twice. I remember at least once.
After I got into electronic intermedia, I got cameras and started getting into like videotaping and stuff, and that's when it was like I videotaped your wedding, I believe.
Well, somebody did. I remember you DJ'd my wedding.
Oh yeah.
you and cousin Lance.
Oh yeah. Liz has a great picture on her fridge of me, Amanda, Roxanne, Lance, and Raquel just sitting on the stage looking all gothed out, you know. I don't know.
I think Lance was in his vampire phase at the time.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, for those that are listening and are boarded out, I don't care. This is great, man. This is great for me. I'm having a good time. So, I went up there to see you play music with a band. Oh, when did that start happening?
I'll get to that point. Thank you, sir, for keeping me on track.
Yeah.
Hold on a second. I might have to change the format of this video call.
Okay.
Because my battery is getting dangerously low, so I got to get on the charger.
All right, get on the charger. We're going to see a totally different background. We're
You know Skype? What would happen if I flipped the phone 180 degrees? Would it flip with me, or would I be upside down?
You'd probably flip. It'd probably flip with you. We're flipping, and there he is again. And now
this is the what was it, the what was that guy's name? Oh my God, I can't.
I think Burt Reynolds had a thing where he was laying out.
That's it.
He was laying sideways like that.
They had the carpet guy had the ads that looked just like the Burt Reynolds pose.
Yeah.
Remember down here?
Keep your clothes on, man.
Hey, yeah, this is an all ages show. But yeah, so what happened is we were in the dorm rooms in in freshman year, it was three guys, me, Zach, and Dave. And Dave's friend George would come over and hang out with us. And then me and Zach started going to George's house and playing music. And then like George had a band from high school called Edward the Bear.
Yes. Now we're getting into stuff that I remember, and I still have Edward the Bear playing on radio. What, man? It's been playing forever.
Do you have the Simple Songs album?
I'm pretty sure I still have it, man. But or was that on the hard drive that crashed? I don't know. One of those. But I do remember listening to Edward the Bear songs over and over and over because you were playing on them, and I enjoyed it so much, man. Right. I was so impressed with you.
They came out of Gainesville, they came out of West Palm Beach, Palm Beach Gardens in like '97. But like that was George Papanikos, the guitar and vocals, Jeff Hall on bass, and Lucas Hall on drums. And then when George came up back in UF and we started hanging out, I started doing design work, graphic design and website design for him. That's how I started out. I wasn't actually in the band at first.
Gotcha.
I was playing on my own stuff, you know.
Well, tell me about the early stages of you when you first got out into the world, starting to play your stuff in front of people.
Well, first of all, I got that multi-tracker in 2000 because like my sister had like gone to like prom or homecoming and got some dress or some expensive stuff. So my mother always bought us equal amounts of stuff. So to make up for it, she bought me the multi-tracker.
Well, I remember you had an effects.
I had the Pandora PX1. I ended up giving to you.
Yeah, well, I remember. Did you give that to me? The little Pandora's box. I still have that.
Right.
And then you ended up.
My first effects before I got my Line 6 pod. I recorded everything with the Pandora PX1.
That was it, man. That's how I ended up getting the Pandora because that thing was awesome, man. When I was and I don't play all that well, but I learned a little bit from you, a couple of chords here and there. But playing with that Pandora's box, just using the little effects, it was so much fun, man. It expanded the way that I felt about electric guitar. But then you got that Line 6, and that had so much effects on it. But tell the people about that Line 6, man. Make this a little commercial for that.
Oh, I've loved their stuff since I heard about the pod coming out. Like like I said, from 2000 to 2004, I recorded 99 multi-track songs that were that project. It was called Multi-Track Experimentations. There was 99 of them total, and so that was all learning to record from my very first attempt at ever recording anything to like more accomplished, works. But like it was, at the beginning it was just a Casio WK 1300 keyboard from Sam's Club, and then it was the Squier Strat and the Pandora PX1 eventually. And then I had gotten a bass guitar one year for Christmas. It was Ibanez SR 300DX, I think.
Okay, because I have an Ibanez 120, I think is what it's called, with the double humbuckers. But you had a bass. So did you get the bass because you had to play bass for a band, or was that something that you wanted to learn?
To make for the recordings I was going to make, I needed to play bass on the recordings.
So you were doing it all by yourself?
One-man band pretty much, yeah.
And what was the name of your project on your own?
At that point, I was just Tim DeMattio. I mean, that's my artist name. All my art school videos say Tim DeMattio. If you go to YouTube and look for Tim DeMattio, you'll find me.
Gotcha. So when did the other iterations, the alter egos, start to come out? Before that, let's go through the concerts and stuff that you did with Edward the Bear. Tell me about that experience.
Yeah. Like I said, I started out being their web design, their visuals guy, graphic design, filming the concerts, all that kind of stuff. And then it was Jeff Hall on bass, and then they had a guitar and keyboard player called Ben Campbell, and then their drummer was Ruben Luna, who's from Panama. He was an amazing drummer. And then what happened was George wanted to kick Jeff out of the band, so he had me learning Jeff's bass parts.
Gotcha.
Right? So I was working on learning those, and then all of a sudden, Ben up and quit the band, so I took that spot instead, which was guitar and keyboards.
Was that rhythm, or was that the lead?
It was rhythm. I play lead some songs, but mostly it was like just the more like intermittent, like like just little fills, you know, like because George was the main guitar player, but like if it was like if he was playing rhythm in the song and I had to play lead, or if he was playing lead I'd have to play rhythm, or if I was playing a keyboard, the organ, or the synthesizer, or sometimes two or three at the same time, whatever I had to do when everybody was doing their, you know.
So, do you feel okay? You had the two different worlds that you were living in. You had your own little project, Tim DeMattio, where you were doing your own thing and multi-tracking and learning how to record things and lay things down. But then you became part of George's project called Edward the Bear.
Yeah, I never wrote anything for Edward the Bear.
Right.
Like George wrote most of the songs, Jeff wrote a couple, and they wrote some together. But it was I didn't do any writing. I just did playing and like sometimes coming up with ideas, and then like you know I was like I said the visual stuff. But like none of my written material got into there. We had some side projects like the psychedelic swordfish. That was George, me, and Zach, my roommate from freshman year. That was our group called the psychedelic swordfish.
But one of your alter egos did show up in the Edward the Bear. I remember that you wore a costume of some kind.
Oh, well, no, actually, back in the day, my name during that time, everybody called me Goth Otter.
Goth Otter. And you had a little otter that you used to put on stage with you, right?
Yes, I did. And I said sometimes I would wear a King Diamond mask, like, because first of all, I was so stage fright. Like, I never played on stage in my life, and I was so afraid to get up there. I figured I was going to wear a mask the whole time. But I talked myself down to just wearing it for one song, you know? So I had the idea to make, you know, King Diamond, the Danish heavy metal singer, wears face paint. So I've got a white a white mask and had it painted to look like King Diamond's face paint.
Man, I always thought it would look like the was it the Brandon Lee?
Kind of like everybody thought it was a Kiss mask, but it wasn't a Kiss mask. It was a King Diamond mask.
King Diamond mask. Okay, all right. That gives me a little insight on what that mask was.
Nobody called me Tim. Nobody called me Tim. Everybody called me Goth Otter. Hey, Goth Otter, what's going on? Hey, Goth Otter, tell Goth Otter this. Because where that name came from, like back in the day when I was on ICQ, or it started on Hotmail, my email was leperslut@hotmail.com. So that came from a poem I wrote called Ritual of the Leper Slut, which later became a song. But so I was leperslut@hotmail.com, and eventually I was leperslut on ICQ. Remember ICQ?
You're making me laugh, man.
That's a good thing. Laughter is the best medicine. Then ICQ started editing your names, so all of a sudden I started appearing as just Leper instead of Leper Slut. They censored it.
They censored your name.
So I changed it to Leper Otter, and that sounded weird because that was in the same juxtaposition. So I changed it to Goth Otter, and that stuck.
You know, through the years, I've had to get people's emails, and that is probably one of the funnier emails that I've ever heard.
Oh, my official UF email was jesus666@ufl.edu.
Yikes. How'd that go over when your mom was sending you an email there?
Oh, she didn't care, but a lot of those Florida Christian kids looked at me askance, you know?
Hey, man, we always got to push boundaries at some point in our lives. And that's what you were doing, man. You were out there. But I remember going to one show, and that
was June, I think. June of probably 2002, maybe.
I remember the kids were like mosh pitting. They were just going crazy, man. There was it looked like a couple of football players went from one side of the room to the other, and they crashed into each other. It was great.
That was at the Shamrock. That was the bar we played at the most. Shamrock was a great place to play because I think we would get like 100% of the door and like all the drinks we wanted, and we would just tear it up in there, you know?
Oh my, yes.
And what I would do is I would set up my camera and run a 20-foot RCA cable to the big screen TV in the back, and I would show the concert on the screen in the back of the bar.
See, you were on the cutting edge, man. Bands nowadays have to do that, but you were. This is way advanced for that time, man. That you were.
We did stuff you wouldn't believe. We had a concert in our house because George and I had a record label. It's called Sloth Bear Records.
Yeah.
And we self-released all our stuff, and we had a Sloth Bear Records like a showcase, like a house party, like kind of like Motown used to do. And so we had like probably like 50 people in our house, and we had it set up with like psychedelic projectors on the wall, and we had the big ballroom, we called it, like this big open living room area where the concert was. But I had it set up wirelessly transmitting the video to the living room in the front of the house so people could watch it on TV up there on the couch, you know?
Man, and this is about the time that I was getting into doing music videos and mixing music videos. And at that point, I couldn't do them, I couldn't mix them like I mix them now. I was using Windows Media Player to play music and then throw it up on the wall. And the people were kind of, wow, that's amazing. You're having like a video dance party right now, and this is like mid 2000s. I mean, now it's so much better.
2001, 2002, 2001, 2002, yeah.
Oh, you were on the edge, man. And you're giving people a little bit more than what they expect. You're putting the video of yourself up on the walls, and people were probably like, wow, that's pretty neat, man. And then doing it wirelessly at that time, this is way before Bluetooth. How did you come up with that idea?
I mean, I had the idea, and I just had to go. Back then, you just go online and Google or email or eBay or just find some cheap Chinese RF transmitter and get to work, you know?
I get it. Okay. I think I have an I think I have an RF transmitter, like a 15-watt FM transmitter.
Like, I forget what it was, on the 900 band or something. Like the cell phone would interfere with it, you know?
Okay, yeah, and I remember getting scanners at some point in my life and listening to cell phone calls.
With you, listening to people's conversations.
Oh my, yeah! Back in '88, there was the cell phones were still analog, so you can listen to people's phone calls at the time. Yeah, before everything went digital. Yeah, you could listen with just a regular police scanner. There it is. But.
Yeah. Where were we? Edward the Bear. So yeah, like that's what we were doing, and like we went on. We had recorded a bunch of three EPs of independent release stuff. So then we wanted to put together a compilation of our EPs into a professionally produced, like actual CD made, not CDRs, like an actual press CD.
Yeah.
It was called Simple Songs, EPs Collected, original songs by original artists. And for that, we went on a big Simple Songs tour. We had always played around Gainesville, and we did a couple trips around to Tallahassee or Miami or, Palm Beach, Jacksonville. So then what we did was we went on the Simple Songs tour. We did a trip around Florida, and then we ended up driving 4 guys in a Nissan Altima with a U-Haul, drove it down I-10 all the way to California and back. And then we drove up north through New York to Toronto and back. That was October, November of 2002.
Man, that's a great tour. That had to be a fun experience. I mean,
that was ridiculously fun.
Yeah, I suspect.
I have a photo album. I was taking a lot of pictures, and I have that photo album still. Half of them are on the Edward the Bear Facebook page, and I still have to scan the other half.
Well, I did that route, I-10 all the way out to California. I did I-10 to I-8 to get to San Diego.
We did. Well, yeah, we got to Tucson. But what happened was we left Gainesville, and we drove out, and our first show was in San Diego.
Yeah, take I-8 down that way.
We drove all the way out. The first night, I think we stopped in New Orleans. I called my ex-girlfriend, who was going to Tulane University, and we all ended up 4 guys crashing on her dorm floor, Hey,
man, you do what you got to do. That's great.
Apparently that flies in Tulane. I don't know. But we went out and bought like a bottle of like Stoli raspberry or something. We were all just drinking everything on that trip. But then we ended up driving. The next stop, we drove overnight through like the longest state in the world, 830 miles of Texas. With like cell phone dead spots.
Oh my gosh!
We ended up we ended up getting into Arizona. We stopped in Tempe with George's friend. We were staying with them in Tempe, and then the next morning we got up to drive into San Diego for our first show. And when we got up, the battery in the car wouldn't start. We had to get a jumper. We had to end up buying a new battery, so it almost ended before it started. But we got to our first show in San Diego, and we played that at the Casbah in San Diego by the airport. And then we drove back to back to Arizona, played in Tempe and Scottsdale and Tucson, and then we drove back to LA and played at the Garage. You know the Garage in LA?
I don't, man. But who's setting up all these?
It's the bar that it's the club they were actually used for the open mic scenes in the Tenacious D TV show.
Okay, I do remember that show somewhat. I don't remember I do remember the show. I don't remember exactly what that bar is. But who's setting up these? Who's setting up this show for you?
George was the impresario. He would call everybody, make these EPKs or these press kits, and like just talk himself, bullshit his way into anything, you know.
Wow, and you're headlining these things, or you're playing with anybody else?
No, it's just any spot we can take, you know. Just like a band we're coming through town on these dates. Can you get us in on anywhere on a set or whatever, you know? We played with all sorts of variety of bands, you know.
This is the plot of the Blues Brothers, man. This is you putting the band back together and just going wherever and playing. This is fantastic.
Yeah, we had it all planned out. The first leg of the tour went well. Like I said, we went out back to LA, and then we had to drive overnight to El Paso, and like that was crazy because like most of the time they wouldn't let me drive because they were afraid of my driving skills because I'm a maniac apparently.
Yeah, I think I taught you how to drive in the Mustang 5.0. And it wasn't great.
I've had a few run-ins with the wall, you know.
The law.
No, the wall.
So, dude, man, that is a fantastic tour. So how was that received?
Coming back from LA to El Paso overnight, we had to stop, and everybody was so tired. They finally let me have the driving, so I drove through the mountains for a while. It was crazy. And it was the only time, and because the other times I was able to just drink freely because I knew I wasn't going to be driving. I was like trying a Bloody Mary in every spot we went to. Like the best one was New Orleans. They put a pickled green bean in it, you know.
Okay, so are much of a drinker, or was that your?
Not much. It's just like, you know, socially. I mean, we got kind of drunk on that tour. There was some episodes with you know, adult toys and makeup, but we won't get into that, you know.
All right, I will leave that to the imagination of the loyal listeners. All right, so but going through, man, what are the highlights of that tour? You know,
I was taking photos the whole time, and I was keeping a tour diary on the website along the way. We would stop at like internet cafes and stuff to update because we didn't have like internet on our phones back then, you know.
Yeah, I guess this is early 2000s. Is there? You said you made a website for them,
right?
And you were updating the website actually, or there was no really social media?
Website. Yeah, exactly. I was updating the website from like Kinko's or wherever I would be, people's computers at their houses or wherever I would be. I would have to sign in through the FTP site and upload the files. I mean, whatever. You do what you got to do, you know.
Is any of that media still out there for the world to hear?
I had it on my website, postrockalyptic.com, but I lost that domain. Someone's squatting there at the moment. I got to see who it is.
Yikes.
But I have all the files backed up on my computer. I just need to get a web server to upload them.
Some Chinese pharmaceutical company. They keep on taking my index page for some reason.
If you go there now, it says like coming soon. Like, what's coming soon? I didn't do anything. What's going on?
Yeah, for some reason, if you Google KeysDAN.com, every once in a while it pops up as a pharmaceutical page. And I go, what is this, man? I've called GoDaddy several times and told them, look, there's something going on here.
Yeah, I made websites for them, Edward the Bear and Sloth Bear Records. We had websites. And I had my own website, Mindstains. And then that was my website for a while. Then eventually I got TimDeMattio.com, which in 2004 morphed into postrockalyptic.com.
Gotcha. So are you still in any kind of a .com presence out there, or is it all social media right now?
Right now, it's all like I had postrockalyptic.com till about 2015, but then we couldn't afford the server hosting, you know, anymore.
Was that your handiwork doing the great logo for Postrockalyptic?
Yeah, that was me. I think that was just Microsoft Paint.
But it's kind of it kind of has a feeling of Rocky Horror Picture Show. Is that what you were inspired by?
Yeah, exactly. Or the Rolling Stones. It's like lips, but it says the top lip says post, the bottom lip says lips, and the mouth open part says rocka, and it says postrockalyptic.
Post-rockalypse. How did you
And
come up with that name?
Exactly. That was some probably just divine intervention, or high quality marijuana or something. It was just like I had these revelations were coming through me, and I just had this idea of post-rockalypse, like a post-rock and apocalypse. You put them together, you get post-rockalypse. And that was my thing. I changed my website from timdematio.com to postrockalypse.com in 2004. And to this day, I'm still postrockalypse online. Twitter, YouTube, anywhere you look for postrockalypse, I made that word up. That's me.
It is you, absolutely is you. It's good to have a brand, man. And if you're gonna brand, I've branded KeysDAN. Post-rockalypse is a great brand.
I remember when you got me into Ning.com.
What is it?
Ning, Ning.com.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, well, you were making, let's see, I think Ning.com was...
We were making our own social media websites.
Yeah, you were trying to make your own little Facebook, your own little MySpace, and that didn't go anywhere, really.
postrockalypse.ning.com. I had that for a while. You got me into that because back in the day, I would run around all night, and there would be nobody to talk to, and the only people who would take your calls at 4 a.m. was radio DJs, including DJ KeysDAN.
You got that right. But we had some interesting phone calls where you would just go off and talk about some of the oddest things, but it would expand my mind, and I'll be like, wow. That was a great call, and I'm wondering, how I knew that this was going to be an interesting podcast, just because of the subject that I'm talking to, Tim DeMattio, and I keep saying your name because I want the loyal listeners to remember that name, Tim DeMattio. And Post-Rockalypse is still very much alive because I'm looking at your Facebook, and about 4 post down, there you are. It's on your SoundCloud, Post-Rockalypse. Right, exactly. It's still a part of your life. But
yeah, those are the 99 tracks I recorded on my multi-tracker. I eventually mastered those down to 128 kilobits MP3s. But I believe I lost all those in a fire, and then the hard drive was salvaged, but then it almost got formatted. So I don't know if those are available to be salvageable. I'd probably have to take it to the FBI to get them off that hard drive. But all I have left are 16 kilobyte MP3s that were on my website.
You know what's funny is I think I do have a hard drive that it crashed on me, and it has all your songs on it, and it's sitting there in a drawer, and I'm wondering if I could ever get it. It has that, and then there's this music from Cuba that was this when I was working at Exito 105.5, one of the program the owner's friend, or one of the owners, had this music that was direct from Cuba, 3,000 songs. He says, these songs are so valuable, man. They're so valuable. You don't lose these songs. And I think I've lost these songs. They're stuck in that hard drive along with
I have a treasure trove of stuff on my burned out hard drive. I have 115 gigabytes of MP3s. I have all my music, all videos shot, all sorts of quality material, and it's like what happened. They went through the fire, and after the fire, the hard drive was saved, and it was still working. And I was using it I had a laptop and I had it on an external hard drive port, and I was using it to boot off of the original Windows installation. And then somehow it didn't work, and it tried to reinstall Windows, and I think it sort of got formatted. It wasn't a full format, it wasn't wiped clean, so the data is still there somehow. I'm sure CSI can figure it out, but I can't.
Oh my! All right, we're getting a little ahead of ourselves when you mentioned fire. Tell me, the end of your college career. I mean, Edward the Bear.
I graduated with a fine arts, and then Edward the Bear broke up in after I graduated. In 2002, I went to work as a delivery driver at Domino's Pizza, Gator Domino's in Gainesville, which was the busiest Domino's in the world until he split it into separate stores.
So you stayed up there. You stayed in Gainesville for a while.
I stayed there for 2 years afterwards, working Domino's and playing in Edward the Bear, etc.
Wasn't your family calling you back, man? Wasn't your mom missing you?
No, I mean, I was out. I mean, she came up a lot of the time because Amanda was going to school there at that time.
Oh, so you kept her company too. What was she going to school for?
Education. She ended up with a master's of education.
Fantastic, little smarty pants. That's cool.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, you're delivering pizzas. You're still playing music at all, or the band's
Yeah.
broken
When I
up?
went to the like after I ended up when I was in school I got as I was graduating to go to graduation, the financial aid office hit me with the thing like, "We overpaid you by thousands of dollars. You have to pay us back if you want your diploma or something."
What?
Basically. So
That's on them.
I ended up having to borrow like I forget like $2,000 from George or something. I forget how much it was, but so I had to pay him back. So eventually, after I graduated, he made me go get a job immediately. So I went. There was always the now hiring spot at the Domino's store. So I went into the Domino's, filled out an application, and I did my first job interview there. Was the day that Attack of the Clones came out in the theater.
Okay. Now, was that
That was that.
is that you having to drive
What?
your own car, or was that a car that they provided?
That was my car. My first car I got in July 2001. It was a 95 Honda Civic EX.
What color?
Green.
Green?
Green.
Oh, okay. and that got you through, man.
Right. It was a great car. The 95 Civic EX. It was the last year of that body style because they changed it in 96. But the 95 EX it's like the car they had in one of the Fast and Furious movies, I think.
Very cool. All right, man. So you're delivering pizzas.
So I worked at Domino's, and like when they were Freddie Weeby, the guy that runs the store, he's a great guy, the greatest business mind in the world. He's a great guy. So this day, he was the greatest mentor. You know, like he had the interview, and he asked me if I had any questions. I said I had two. I told him I played in a band, and that I would need time off for rehearsals and playing shows and stuff, and he said that was okay. And I asked him if I had to cut my hair, and he said no, I didn't have to cut my hair, my ponytail or my long hair at the time. So that I was good with that. I said, all right, I can work here, you know.
Well, that seems like a good dude, man. A nice experience for you, and you kept you in Gainesville for a couple more years. So after that, are you playing solo at all, or you're?
I wasn't playing out yet. I was still in Edward the Bear for a year or so, like 1 year after I graduated, and then we broke up. I think in it was like February, somewhere around there, or June of 2003. We had a big farewell show with all the old members coming back, and we played one final show to close it all out in the Shamrock.
How cool is that, man?
I have an audio documentation of that.
You still keep in touch with those guys?
So yeah, on Facebook sometimes. George is living in Greece now. I think Jeff is in Tampa. Jonathan's in Spain. Yeah, people are all over the place.
Any of them still playing at all?
Oh, George is pretty good. Like, he was making some good music with some famous people out there, you know? He's doing his thing.
That's pretty cool.
I hear Jeff was playing with the band these days, too.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I'm glad that you don't lose that half of your brain, man. Don't lose that talent.
Yeah, I started playing on my own, like, right around, because I'd always been recording on my own, but I never went out to actually play. That was still after the Edward the Bear broke up. I started, like, trying, like, out at open mic nights, guitar. Like, in 2004, I wrote a couple songs. I wish I could play now, but I got to hold my phone up the whole time here. I'm a one-handed guy at this point.
No, that's all right, man. I mean, people can go online and go on your SoundCloud and listen to you.
Oh, no, there's, like, all sorts of stuff on YouTube. If you just go to Postrockalyptic on YouTube, you can find everything.
Absolutely, man.
I've got 4 hours of footage on a flash drive I need to upload still.
See, this is the time when people get to hear the person behind the music, behind the creativity, behind the the things that you do.
That's the SoundCloud thing. Like I said, I only have those 99 16 kilobyte MP3s that were my existing versions, but there's I think some of the most recent ones of those are on the SoundCloud because there was like a limit to how much you could put on a free SoundCloud account or something.
And then it's so funny. There's no limit to what you could put on YouTube. And if if things get enough hits, maybe YouTube will pay you some money for that. Possibly.
Exactly. So what happened was I was playing after Edward the Bear broke up. Like when we were in Edward the Bear in October, but when the tour was going on, I met this girl named Nicole, and we started like going out together and stuff like that. And then eventually we ended up moving in together, and I lived with her for like a year or so in Gainesville, and then we ended up moving to Savannah, Georgia, in October of 2004.
Is that where she was from?
No, she was from Gainesville, from Alachua, Florida, but she got a job at the 4-H Center on Tybee Island.
Okay, so tell me about Georgia, man. Savannah.
I went up to Savannah. It's a beautiful downtown. Downtown is a historical district, and it's also a festival district. So you can like drink anything you want in a plastic cup walking around downtown. So it's a great party town.
Well, I think of Savannah, as a plantation. So living in Georgia, I think of people wearing their white suits with their Colonel Sanders.
Oh, there's some of that going on, yeah. But I mean, it's a mix. Like, if you ever seen Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil, you know what it's about.
No, man, I don't think I have. I know them. I've heard of the movie, but I haven't seen it. I need to check that out.
Oh, yeah, yeah. So we moved up there, and by that point, I had already played some open mics in Gainesville. Like, I wrote a song called Gainesville, which is a parody of Jimmy Buffett's Margaritaville.
Very cool, man. So when did you start writing? I know you said you kind of alluded to the poetry that you were doing in school. Do you still keep any of those poems? Have you put them,
I
binded
have all
them
those
up?
poems in my archives. Yes, I have all the poems in the archives. They're not online anymore because I lost my website, but I do have the files still. Yes.
Well, this is the part where you bind them up and you put them into a book and a book of poetry.
No. This is the part where you bind them up and put them into a book.
I do not, man. You could self-publish anything nowadays. You could do anything on your own. I think record producers and book companies are all running scared because people can do it all by themselves nowadays.
Right. Yeah. So, like I said, I started writing my own songs back when I first got my multi-tracker, and the keyboard and stuff. So I had written some songs, and there was this Gainesville song. I started playing at open mic night and different stuff. And then I got to Savannah, Georgia, and I got an acoustic by this point. And
okay.
So when we went to living in Savannah, Georgia, I was playing my guitar in the apartment, and the neighbors thought it was too loud, So that's when I started going out of the apartment and playing like on the park bench and stuff.
And did you put a hat out? Were you busking at that time?
No, I never put a hat down. I was always just playing to play, And eventually it went from playing on park benches to playing while strolling around downtown, Like the wandering minstrel, the homeless romantic.
See, that's something you could do with an acoustic guitar. That is so fantastic. I've always been so jealous of someone who could just take a guitar and just walk around with it, man. Be a minstrel, a traveling minstrel. Absolutely. It's something I could never do as a DJ. I couldn't take my turntables and put them on, strap them to my waist like you see in that Tone Loc video. It doesn't work like that.
Right. So that's when I started doing that, walking around, just like, because I learned, that's when I started to learn how to play and sing at the same time. I would just walk and get in a rhythm and just start strumming and singing, strumming at the same time, and I would sing karaoke. There's a bar in Savannah called McDonough's, and they have karaoke 7 nights a week.
Oh, put that on the walking tour. McDonough's, head over there. So, and are you playing your own songs? Are you playing covers? What are you doing?
Covers and originals, yeah, both. Either way, whatever anybody wants to hear. But I would make money. I would get dollars, 20s, whatever. Eventually, I'd make some money out there. One time, I would stand by the guy with the hot dog cart. He would just throw dollar bills at me.
That's pretty cool. I'm sure Nicole was happy that you were bringing some dough in the house.
Well, no, because what happened at that point, this was later. She was living on the Tybee Island 4-H site, the camp counselors or whatever.
What's 4-H?
4-H is the agricultural club.
Oh,
I forget what the H's stand for. Health, heart, hands, or something. It's the one with the 4-leaf clover. They do all the fairs, at the state fair with the prize cow and stuff like that.
And she was living at this place, and you were living someplace else.
I had an apartment in downtown Savannah. She would come over on the weekends, and then eventually I got a job at the 4-H center in the kitchen. I was looking for a job, and then finally there's an opening in the kitchen at the 4-H center.
You were cooking or what?
Yeah, basically, yeah. Me and there was 2 old ladies and me and this young guy, and we would run the kitchen and stuff and sometimes just cooking 100 serving pot of spaghetti or a shitload of chicken fingers,
That's pretty cool. All right, so this is a summer camp type of thing.
Exactly. It's a place where Georgia 4-H kids go on field trips, or they go there for a 3-day trip, and they learn about nature and sea turtles and stuff like that.
That's pretty cool. And your girlfriend was living there and teaching.
She was an environmental educator. Yeah, exactly.
That is neat as can be. All right, and then you got to be a part of that as well, at least feeding the kids. Okay.
And then eventually what happened is, and that's when I started walking around downtown, like, because like I would have like she would be over there in Tybee Island, and I'd be by myself in Savannah with nothing to do, you know.
Yeah, and might as well if you have this skill, go out
It's
there and
like,
play.
you ever been to Savannah?
I don't believe I have. Maybe through it.
Tybee Island is like 17 miles away down on a barrier island. It's like a way out. It's kind of like that 17-mile stretch in the Keys, you know?
Yes. Yes.
It's like just a big stretch of nothing, and then you get to the island.
Excellent. So can you get there by? Is it land by land or
Yeah, bridges. Yeah, exactly.
Got a bridge.
Yeah, like if you're in downtown Savannah, because Savannah, the city, lies right on the south side of the Savannah River, which separates Georgia from South Carolina.
Well, there you go. Now I'm getting a little geography lesson about Savannah, Georgia. Okay, so
Yeah, this was the so I started walking around playing guitar for people all around downtown, and I was getting really enlightened. I had started writing in my live journal at the time, which is postrockalyptic.livejournal.com, and so I had put writing on that, and I would just walk around town dispensing wisdom to people, making people smile, and I got this reputation as being like Buddha. I would just sit and meditate on the statues, you know.
okay, so here's where another persona comes out. Who's calling you Buddha?
Just everybody, okay, people on the street, you know, because I was just like this wise fat guy, just, you know, walking around spreading love, you know.
Just playing music for the people, making them smile. They're throwing a couple bucks your way.
Right. And then I met this girl in a bar, and she said she had a sailboat, and I always wanted to run away on a sailboat. So I said I could marry her and get her and we could have the sailboat together, you know. And so she said her name was Holly, so I took her name and I became Buddha Holly.
It's so funny, man. I would have never known how that came about because of the whole, you know, Buddha Holly or Buddy Holly thing that
right,
you were.
Exactly. It's a play on words. Because like I was looking in an Italian dictionary, and I saw that Buddha in Italian is spelled without the H. It's just Budda. So I was looking at that, and I was looking at Buddha and Holly both have the same construction with a double consonant at the end.
That
so
is
I just
correct.
put Buddha Holly together. It's like Buddy Holly with an A instead of a Y. Why? Because we like you. MOUSE.
Perfect. Okay, so Buddha Holly is born in Savannah, Georgia.
Exactly. I was downtown, and I was at by River Street in Savannah, and there was a gift shop, and there was these fake not fake, but sunglasses with no prescription, or glasses with no prescription, you know.
And this is where you get the horn rimmed glasses.
Right. A lady gave me the $3 I needed to buy the glasses, and that's when I became the full embodied Buddha Holly. Yes.
Okay, and at this point, were you that skinny little kid, or?
I was pretty skinny. I was getting skinnier from just walking around all day long, you know.
From walking around. Okay, and I remember in the Buddy Holly phase of your life, man. How long did you stay in Savannah, and where did you go from there?
This was from like October. When I was really playing is when I left. I went to work at the 4-H center in like February, and then I left in like May, and then it was from like May to August of 2005 was the big roaming Savannah streets time.
Okay, and where did you go from there?
These crackheads started stealing all my stuff from me, so I got my mother to bring me back here.
Oh, okay. Back to South Florida, back to
exactly.
the county line, somewhere around there?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, back to the original house, to your house.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
That's right. That was right around the same time as your Katrina benefit.
Yes, and that's where you picked up my Squire and played it at that.
I think it was an Ibanez.
Oh, no, that was the Ibanez 120 that you played. Man, you played it so well. You played it better than I could ever play it. And it's still sitting there in my closet waiting for me to pull it out.
Good pictures. There were some good pictures taken that day because that was like me and my slimmest and most rock star appearance.
Yes, and you embodied it, man. You made that event happen, man. Because I was playing some DJ stuff, but you got up on stage and you had my that Shure 55 mic, and you just
Right.
you played it. And I don't care if there were 10 people sitting out there watching. There was 10 of the happiest people, with smiles on their faces, man, looking at you play. And I was one of them. Just I was enamored and just you impressed me to no end playing up on that stage at the Lions Club in Key Largo, and it just and I could tell you were in your element, man. And it wasn't really playing Buddy Holly songs. It was Buddy Holly inspired songs that you had written, right?
Right, yeah.
So, I mean, how long did you go with that persona, or is that something that's still in the back of your mind?
I mean, I'm still Buddha Holly. Like, if you go to my Facebook, it says Tim DeMattio parentheses Buddha Holly.
Yep, that's what I have underneath your face right there. It's superimposed right under you on the video. It says Tim DeMattio parentheses Buddha Holly.
So like, a lot of people, like in Hollywood, they just know me as Buddha. Like, hey Buddha, what's up? Stuff like that. Or keep walking, Buddha, keep walking.
Hollywood, Florida, you're talking about.
Correct. Yes.
And okay, so now you're back there. When did that was 2005? You went back to the Fort Lauderdale area, the North Miami area.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I stayed there until my mother passed away in 2007.
That was a time. Oh my goodness, that sank the family, man. That was a hard time for everybody.
That was a crazy time because my mother had been sick for a while, but we didn't know like how sick,
Well, that's how she is, man. When she got pregnant with you, we didn't know until she was 10 months, 8 months pregnant. And then when she got pregnant with your sister, we didn't know till she was like 6-7 months pregnant. She was like that. She would not tell anybody until she absolutely knew, oh, okay, it's imminent. Things are happening.
Right. Exactly. That's what happened. It was like she had been feeling sick, like low blood pressure and like trouble breathing and stuff like that for a while, chest pains, and like it was like, so I was like June 14th, 2007, and she was like my father was sleeping in the bedroom, and my sister was sleeping in her bedroom, and I was in my bedroom downloading Super Nintendo games offline, and she used to lay out on the couch and watch TV and stuff. And so she called me on my cell phone and said, "Hey, come out here. I need to go to the hospital. Put the cat and dog in your dad's room so the ambulance guys can take me to the hospital." So the guys take her away on a stretcher, and as she's leaving, she tells me to make sure to go to my competency class tomorrow because I was in some pre-trial release for some charges I picked up. That's a different story we might get to. Who knows? But that was so that was the last thing I ever heard her say because they took her to the hospital, and so I went back to my downloading, and then I went to my class in the morning. I came back, finally went to sleep, and then my dad knocks on the door, tells me get dressed to come out of here, and he goes, "She's gone," just like that, And my heart dropped to hit the floor.
I'm sure the whole family. My goodness, she was your rock, man. She was just. It seems like she kept you together, and the whole family just loved Adela. Adela. I can't not say Adela because that's how I always knew her. But Adela DeMattio, man, just beautiful lady, your mama. And so 2007. All right, well, let's back up a little bit. She was helping you through what? Let's get to that story because that sounded like an interesting turn. What's a competency class?
Well, that was I've had my first run-in with the law. It was in Savannah when I was doing my enlightened bits running around Savannah. I was arrested for sitting in a fountain. I was tossing out all the pennies because I figured people had gotten all their wishes, so I was giving them their pennies back.
That's an interesting frame of mind. Okay, that's a good thought process. What made you think to do that? That's just
probably this bipolar disorder.
Okay, well, tell me about that, man. I mean, people need to know about what's a bipolar disorder.
Exactly. It's like, I get highs and lows, and so sometimes they last for a long time, and it just gets more and more out of control until, if you're not taking anything to control it, So when I was feeling good, I would walk around and just be out in the public and interactive, or if I'm down, I could just sit in my home and do nothing for 6 months, It's extremes.
Well, how are you feeling now? I mean, and what's a high and what's a low?
Well, currently at the moment, I've been pretty good, pretty stable for the last 5 or 6 years, so I'm doing pretty good. But like, that's how I ended up getting arrested a bunch of times, just running afoul of the law, and so that's why I ended up. And then they had to like do a competency hearing to see if I was competent to stand trial. So, and then I had to go take a class for that.
Is this something that was diagnosed before, or something that you just?
It wasn't
came
diagnosed
upon?
the first time. Like I was arrested in Savannah, and then in the jail in Savannah, they were giving me some medications, but I didn't see an actual psychiatrist till I was arrested in 2006 in Fort Lauderdale. I ended up going to the doctors, and then finally going to I think it was Jackson North to see a doctor there, and finally getting diagnosed and started getting treatment.
Well, I'm glad you got it kind of under control. You said for the last 5-6 years, you're pretty even. So it's still medicated or just doing it with other treatments?
Right, yeah. I'm taking a couple medications at the moment. They seem to have been working the past few years, yeah.
Well, good. I'm glad you got that under control. I'd hate to lose my mind. That's the thing that I would hate to lose the most, man. Is that the ability to think and think, properly.
Rationally.
Yeah, rationally, absolutely. Well, cool, good. That's out of the way. Now we move on.
Well, if you want to get to the next part, that would be and I lived in that house until I started a fire there in 2009.
Okay. Well, tell me how that fire started.
Well, I was in my room, and I had a guitar. I had gotten one of those Esteban acoustic guitars.
Yeah, I got one of those. Mommy got me one. My grandma got me an Esteban. You would buy them online, shopping network. I think Poppy, my grandfather, had died maybe a year or two before, and Mommy just went nuts on Home Shopping Network and started buying everything. Here's a stereo. I don't need a stereo. Here's a guitar, Esteban. Mommy, stop buying stuff. Stop buying stuff.
That guy was so cheesy. The guy that would do the infomercials, Steve Esteban.
Yeah, he looked like Zorro playing guitar.
Yeah. So I got my aunt Liz got me one of those guitars. So I had it in my room on the floor, and I was doing some rituals with it. Like I had a candle burning on it, and I was squirting it with like lighter fluid, doing like the Jimi Hendrix thing.
Ooh, okay. You did a little bit more with your Esteban than I did, so that didn't end well.
Usually the lighter fluid works well when you do that. What you don't want to do is do it with a can of acetone.
So it didn't end well, I'm guessing.
So I had the can of acetone, and I squeezed that on, and all of a sudden the fire shoots up the can. The can starts to go off of my hand, so I toss it, and then it's just a big fireball in the corner. So I run to the kitchen, get the fire extinguisher, and come back, try to spray it down. And then I tell my dad what's going on. He gets, all right, everybody out of the house, and then whatever. And then eventually, I guess it was still smoldering or something, because eventually everything caught it, and then like the whole house had smoke and water damage, and my room was pretty much burnt to a crisp. I don't know.
Yikes. So there's the end of that recording equipment and that
exactly.
that house. How'd your dad feel about that, there, kid?
I mean, I guess like he was almost done paying off the mortgage, but I guess he got out of it. I guess so. I don't know. We had some insurance settlement out of it, so I guess we weren't completely out on the street.
So where'd you go from there?
I ended up. Well, I moved into. Directly from there, I moved into the house on the corner of 92nd and 29th, which Liz still owned at that point.
Oh, okay, all right.
That's where my grandfather had been living till he passed away.
Okay. So, I mean, well, any repercussions from burning down your house?
Not really, except for not like. I mean, I don't know I don't think they weren't trying to arrest me for it or anything.
Okay.
Like it was just like accident or whatever. I don't know the insurance. I got insurance. I ended up getting like a bunch of insurance money, and I tried to buy some equipment to replace the stuff that was lost.
And were you able to do that? Did you get any?
Sort of. I mean, a lot of that got stolen later, but that was like because living in that neighborhood wasn't the best place to be buying musical equipment.
Yeah, you were back in Hialeah, man, in Northwest Hialeah. Just oof. You're right. It got worse. It wasn't great at first, but it got worse.
Right. So that's where I ended up there. And then from there, like people kept breaking down the door and coming in and robbing me and stuff. So I had to get out of there. So they came in, like I had bought like a big, nice Line 6 Bogner tube amp and a Marshall half cabinet. And I had that in there and they stole all that shit.
Wow. Savages, man. Savages.
And I had like a renter's insurance, and I was trying to get them to pay that, but I wasn't technically renting. And then they looked me up and they said, "Wasn't there some incident with like getting a fire to get out of a mortgage or something?" And it was like all this other stuff is like ridiculous. These insurance people are people. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, it's a racket, man. They don't want to pay. You pay them, but they don't want to pay. If they can get out of it, they will.
So from there, next place I moved to was Hollandale Beach.
Okay, like right on the beach or what?
Like on US 1.
Okay, like your own place or apartment or what?
Yeah, an apartment. Yeah, my first time being in like an apartment, like by myself. Like I mean, I was by myself in downtown Savannah, but like it was technically in me and Nicole's name. But like this was just me by myself. Like I first moved into one of those motels, Richard's Motel, which was like, you know, one of those Canadian snowbird motels or something, you know. And I was in the off season, so I lived in the motel for a while until we found the apartment, and I lived there for a while, and then eventually I moved out west to Hollywood, and then I moved to downtown Hollywood, and I started walking around downtown Hollywood and playing guitar again.
And how are you making money? How are you surviving?
Since 2009, I believe it's just been on Social Security disability.
Oh, okay, and so that's how you've been living up to now.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, I don't have much money for anything, but I'm alive and I got a roof over my head, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, and you got a phone with the internet that can get you some Skype.
Hey, we're still connected after all this time.
Yeah, are you still playing at all? Or, I mean, are you recording anything?
Like I'm trying to get recording capabilities set up. I just got today. I ordered a pair of headphones so I could record vocals, and I just got those today. I haven't tested them out yet, so I should have, in theory, technically, all the equipment needed to start recording again on my computer. But the computer isn't the best computer, and I can't get on the internet technically to download software, so I'm kind of limited to what I can do with it. But I could get some ideas down for starters.
So since 2009, how are you spending your days, man?
Like 2009, like playing, like basically just playing guitar out in the public, and just lately these days, like most recently, like I had a lot of periods in there where I was just depressed and not doing anything and just lying on the couch and just sleeping all day and eating. That's how I ended up gaining so much weight, you know.
Hey, man, I'm glad you still got a roof over your head and you got food on the plate, man. That's a good thing. But right. I'm glad you reached out, man, over the last couple of days. I know you've been talking to Mama. You played some Elvis songs on the ukulele for her. I was talking to her about that, and she says, "Oh yeah, he did. It was so wonderful, so nice." That you played for my grandmother. You played ukulele. She loves Elvis, and you sang a couple Elvis songs. And I was talking to Kenny, my brother, and that you had reached out to him, and you were talking. It's good to have you, reaching out, man, and chatting with people. It's no good to be alone all the time,
Right. I mean, if you don't call people, they'll never call you. You got to make that first move,
Hey, I feel the same way sometimes, man. I call my grandma once a week. She goes, "Oh, I was going to call you." I said, "Why didn't you?" And I call my mom, and I say, she goes, "Oh, I was going to call you." And I said, "Well, why didn't you?" The phone goes both ways. I get it, man. But when you think about calling somebody.
I talked to your brother for like 2 hours today.
Oh, that's fantastic, man. Should have recorded that for a podcast.
I used to have an app on my phone that would just record all my calls.
See, and I have that ability as well. I can record calls. I can record anything, really. But and I guess here's a little hint for those people. If you want to start a podcast pretty easily, get yourself a Google Voice for free, and you can have people call you, and
go on, I'm listening.
Yeah, but I can't talk over this because it cuts out.
Oh, does it? I don't know what your technology capabilities are.
No, it cuts out. But I want you to play that ukulele, man. I have a
Yeah, you were
pink.
talking about. Oh, I'll play you a song. I mean, I don't think we're legally cleared to play cover songs, but you know.
No, but if you want to record a podcast, you can do it on Google Voice for free. You have them call you, and I think you press 4, and it automatically records up to 3 hours. So
Wow.
it's not great quality, but hey, man, if you want to record somebody, just a good conversation, and then put it up online as a podcast, you can definitely do that. But ukulele, man.
I got this in July. I ordered it because I started playing HQ Trivia, the online trivia game where you can win money, like in 2018. And since that time, I've won like $180. So I had all this money saved up, and I don't like to buy stuff like frivolous that's gonna disappear, like a beer or something. I want to buy something that'll last. So I decided to order a ukulele. So I got this, and it just showed up in July. And so I've been learning that. Like, I came into it already knowing guitar and like a lot of musical stuff, so it wasn't just jumping in blind. But it's been fun, and it's pretty nice little tiny little thing. It's like $60 or something, you know.
Yeah, but you play ukulele. Is it just like playing guitar?
I mean, the theory of the tuning is different, but I mean, then you got to learn different chord shapes. But other than that, the concept of plucking a string and fretting a note, that part's the same, you know.
So play something original.
All right, I got you. Let's see here. What's a good one? This is a song that got me kind of famous in Hollywood, Florida. Let's see if I can remember how it goes. My girlfriend left me at the side of the road, and I feel like my heart is about to explode. And I got no money, and I got no job, and I got beat up, and I just got robbed. Singing, all I want to do is get some weed and roll up. All I want to do is get some weed and roll up. All I want to do is get some weed and roll up now. If you're feeling down, if you're feeling sad, and the world's got you feeling all kinds of bad, there's a place you can run to, a place you can hide, and she feels so good when you take her inside, singing, all I want to do is get some weed and roll up. All I want to do is get some weed and roll up. All I want to do is get some weed and roll up now. I've been traveling all around this God-created world, and I think I found you're my only girl. I'm gonna write a letter to Mr. Obama, say we all deserve the right for to smoke marijuana, 'cause you smoked a lot, became the first black president. I would smoke you out, but I'm a Florida resident, singing, all I wanna do is get some weed and roll up. All I wanna do is get some weed and roll up. All I wanna do is get some weed and roll up now. All I wanna do is get some weed and roll up now. Thank you.
Yeah. Bow, 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 bow. That was great, man. That was great. Oh my goodness. Okay. That's the perfect way to end the podcast. Let the people know how to get a hold of you and how to find all your songs and how do you want people to connect with you online? What do you want out of life, man?
I mean, like I've got about 12, 14 original songs that need to be released to the world, you know? I mean, just like there's a lot out there in various bits and pieces, but I mean, if you want to find me, it's postrockalyptic all over the internet, YouTube, SoundCloud, Twitter, Facebook. I mean, just look for me. I'm out there. Tim DeMattio, Buddha Holly.
Yeah, that's definitely the way to find you. Tim DeMattio, Buddha Holly. I mean, the spelling will be in the podcast description, of course, and I'll put all the links to various post-rockalypse things in the show notes. But I mean, going forward, what do you want out of life, man? You're living there in South Florida, beautiful.
I would like to I play. Like, I want to play guitar. Like, I want to get out there again and just, like, get out in the world. I've been kind of, like, retired for the past 10 years, you know? Like, I've just been, like, I haven't been, like, doing what I used to. You know, I want to get back in the game, you know?
Are you still busking? You gotta. I mean, you have the
Yeah, like
ukulele.
I haven't been playing for like 5 years. I've just been here laying low at the apartment. I mean, at the house, staying out of trouble. But like what I used to like when I lived in downtown Hollywood, I would walk around all the time and make money just playing guitar at different places, you know. But I've never done like technically like literal legal busking with like a permit or anything, you know.
I got you. I got you. So, all right. Yes, I only just learned that term busking over the last year doing this podcast, talking to guitarists, and all you need is a. I didn't know you needed a license to be a busker.
Yeah, there's only certain places you could play without. Like if you're in South Beach, like I think you could be on like Washington Street and get away with playing, but like you can't do it on Ocean Drive or something, you know.
How far away from the beach are you?
I live in, I'm in by the Davie Town Hall, so I could take the 12 bus. Will take me right to North Hollywood Beach.
Yep, I went to Broward College right there in Davies, and I went to Western High School in Davie. So yeah, I'm very familiar with Davie, man, and I spent a lot of time near the town hall. I guess there was a Chinese restaurant that had all you can eat there, and I think I ate too much. But yeah, so I mean, you're just living on your disability? You're not doing any jobs at all? Just staying at the house?
I haven't done any jobs. Like, I mean, I'd like to be able to play and make some money somehow, but like right now, like, well, especially with the disease going on, I can't go anywhere. But like, I mean, like, I haven't like that experience like playing like late. I haven't been playing out. Like, I played some open mics occasionally, but not lately.
Well, I'm glad you reached out, man. And I know with COVID, that's keeping people inside more now. I lost all my DJ gigs, for the first couple of months. Now they're starting to open back up, and I guess how's Florida doing? I've heard mixed reviews on whether they're opening up at all or not opening up.
I think, I mean, they're pretty much like, I mean, they're like, it's not like they're closed. Like, there's a lot of, the cities, like, there's a lot of things open, and the governor is like a maniac. He's trying to open everything. Like, they got football games going on, and like the mayors and everything down here want to be able to enforce the rules, but like, we can't enforce the rules. Like, you can find someone for like not wearing a mask, but you can't collect the fine or something. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, okay. And I know there was some stuff with that in the protest recently. It's the police were saying or the police chiefs were saying just let them go. Let them do what they want. Burn the places down. Really? You got to enforce the laws, I guess, somewhat. But then sometimes the laws are ridiculous. So can we be forced to stay inside? I don't know. What's your thought on that?
I mean, if we don't, it's just going to keep going on. So, I mean, it depends what you want. You know, if you want to just be doing this for the rest of your life, then yeah, go out and have fun with people.
Yeah, I don't mind throwing a mask on if that's all I got to do to go outside and have some kind of mobility. Throw a handkerchief over my face.
Right.
All right, my man. Well, keep playing that music. You got I bought my daughter a pink ukulele. She's very talented. She knows how to play the piano, and I hope she picks up the guitar, especially the one that mommy just gave me. I took it to the local guitar shop here down the street, Palmer, and I had my friend Ryan Hinman, who actually was on the podcast, probably one of the first people I had on the podcast. He tuned it up. He sanded it down and put new strings. And
I always loved looking at that guitar when I went over there.
Yeah, I remember it was sitting in the corner all the time, and she said, do you want it? And so hopefully
the last time I saw her when I went over there, I broke a string trying to tune it up.
Well, it's all fixed up, man. It's all beautiful now. Oh, in fact, here, let me get up and go get it. It's sitting there in the closet.
Oh, there we go. We can do dueling banjos.
Thanks for keeping my listeners. Well, you'll see it on the video, but it is all fixed up and pretty.
Nice.
When the video loads up, I'll load it up overnight, and you'll see how pretty it is. And I don't know how to play anything. I'm not as good as you.
Years,
What's that?
After all these years, you haven't picked anything up yet?
Man, what is it? That power chord. That's it.
And you can do a lot with the power. Here, you got to work on the basic shuffle like this one. Like, once you get that, you can do anything, you know? Work on that one, you know?
Man, like a pro. You're like a pro.
Yeah.
Here I am holding this guitar, like a perpetrator. Just. But let me put that down before I break it. but Tim DeMattio, Budda Holly, postrockalyptic, man, it's been a pleasure chit chatting with
Thank you.
Officially on the podcast.
Yeah, the only time I can talk to my cousin if it's part of his job, apparently.
Oh my goodness, man! You know that's not true. But no, I appreciate you coming on and really wanting to come on. I appreciate you telling a bit of your story, man, your life story. Your sister, she's teaching now, I guess.
Yeah, she's working at Sylvan Learning Center.
Oh, that's beautiful, man. So I mean, hey, it's good to keep in touch with family because
Right.
family is usually the ones that are going to back you up no matter what. And I give that advice quite often, man. To, make sure that you keep your family close, man, and because if things go south, man, they're the ones that are going to help you out. But usually I finish these things off with last words for the people, and this could be words that you live by, something that you heard a long time ago, or just whatever pops into your head at this moment in time. Tim DeMattio, the Budda Holly, last words for the people.
Let me think. Last words for the people would be, just, get out there. Like, this is all right. Actually, I have a book here, like a sketchbook. And I haven't written anything in the years. Like I have my live journal I used to write in, but I hadn't written anything in. On the 29th of November, I picked up a pen and wrote something down. So here's what I wrote. I wrote, remember how the situation will remain in stasis until you make the critical change. Send the text, make the phone call, write the first word, make the first move.
Well, there you have it, party people. Tim DeMattio, my cousin Timmy. Yeah. Tim DeMattio, Budda Holly, postrockalyptic. He's a very interesting fellow, I'll tell you. Growing up with him, watching him grow up it's been amazing to me. He's so very talented. I'm so glad that you came on the podcast, Tim, and told a little bit about your story. You've had a very interesting life so far, and it ain't over yet, bro. You got plenty of life left to live. I suspect you'll be doing some more recording, putting out some more of that music, some good postrockalyptic music. He's got the different personas that I've seen throughout his life. I remember the Goth Otter when he wore that mask. I always thought it was a mask from like a wrestling thing, but here it is. It was a King Diamond. It was the Swedish thing. Is that what he said? Swedish? I think he said Swedish, but King Diamond nonetheless. And then I remember Budda Holly when he did just after Hurricane Katrina, down in the Florida Keys. He helped me do a Hurricane Katrina relief. We raised a few bucks, and I threw that check into the American Red Cross box. That was pretty cool, man. That we were able to raise some money. But he was like the star of the show. He took my guitar and he put his little glasses on, and he was looked like Buddy Holly, but he played original songs inspired by Buddy Holly. I thought that was pretty cool. Just a way to express yourself. And that's one thing he could do, is pick up a stringed instrument and express himself. Now he's got this little ukulele that's it's such a good sound, and in the right hands it could be very joy filling, and it certainly was. Just that little bit that he was playing for me, I mean, he put some joy into my 91-year-old grandmother grandmother's heart, just playing for her over the phone, playing some Elvis songs for her. So that's what you can do as an entertainer, is make people feel a certain kind of way. And Tim DeMattio, you are a very talented man. So go look him up. Tim DeMattio, Buddha Holly. He's over there on Facebook, and then postrockalyptic. It's pretty easy to figure out how to spell postrockalyptic. It's POST and then ROCKA and then LYPSE. So POSTROCKALYPSE, postrockalyptic. And he's got 99 songs out there on his SoundCloud. The links are all in the show notes, but man, I'm so glad to talk to him, and he needs to be out there. He needs to be out there putting music out there for the world, and people need to know who Tim DeMattio is. The Buddha Holly, the postrockalyptic, the goth otter. So many different personas, man, and each one of them is just as good as the other. All right, that's it for this edition of What Makes You Famous. If you would like to tell your story, I encourage you to give me a call, 501-470-6386, or email info@radiowhat.com. That's it for me. It's KeysDAN, RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com. Peace. I'm out of here.